Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with another Starcraft commentary. Today we got a game between Anytime and Lomo, and I'm pretty excited about this game, actually. It should be a fun one. We got Lomo up here in the top right-hand corner of the map as the orange... I'm sorry, I just said top right. He's in the top right of my screen, but he's actually in the bottom right spawn. You can see his base goes up from there. Anyway, Anytime is going to be the white Protoss down here in the bottom left-hand corner. This is actually from the Jaedong replay pack that I found on TL, but there's also some games in there that he observed. So this is a game where he observed some of his teammates playing. I again believe this is from 2010-ish. So kind of the prime era of Kespa. The Kespa games. All these guys are going to be on top of their game right now. As is before, you know, Starcraft 2 started messing things up, I guess. But in any case, we got Lomo down here. Lomo is an interesting... I think this is going to be a good matchup because I think these guys are going to be pretty evenly matched. They're both, like, right below the top tier, I would say. You know? You got Jaedong. Jaedong's on a whole other level, right? You got your Jaedongs, you got your Flashes. You got your Stork Fantasy, Zhongbi. And then right below that, there's this layer of players that are extremely good, but not quite... you know, the tippy top, and I believe Lomo and Anytime are both kind of in that area. Anytime is more of a veteran. He's been playing for several years at this point. You know, he's gotten pretty far in some Star Leagues in previous years, but in 2010 he's not really good enough to really, you know, win a Star League or anything like that. I don't believe he got into any finals in this kind of time period, but he's still extremely solid, very good pro league player, you know, very good team player. Lomo is kind of like one of the newer guys though in 2010. You know, I think we probably first started seeing him in 2009. Maybe it wasn't until 2010 that he was playing in the team leagues and stuff like that. So, but also a very, very solid guy. I don't think he ever got super far in any individual tournaments either, but he was still extremely solid, very capable player. And is actually going to go for a command center, very quick command center right after the barracks. So going for a bit of a rush here, an economic rush, I guess. And let's see what Anytime does, because Anytime is scouting very early, by the way. What did he just... Nope, he just made a zealot. So Anytime scouting very early. He's already gotten through 2 spawn points. He's going to get to the third spawn point very quickly. It's kind of unfortunate that he's scouting Lomo last, because he would have had theoretically an opportunity to harass the SCV building, the command center before the Marines were out and that kind of thing. He is at least going to be able to scout and see, okay, I know exactly what's going on now, and there's a Marine there, so I'm going to peace out. So what is he going to respond with? Is he going to respond with, I mean, it's kind of a little bit too late for him to respond with aggression. He's probably going to build his own Nexus in a minute here and try and sort of keep on the same level economically, basically is what we're looking for here. And Lomo is actually setting out his SCV to do some scouting as well. And he went north, and now he's shifting over, and he might be looking for proxies. He might be like, all right, well, this probe is here, and I'm just a little suspicious, and I need to be worried because the SCV and the Dragoon passing each other. He might need to be a little bit worried because he did go for the fast command center. He's vulnerable to an early attack, and so he might be worried about that. But anyway, he decides he's going to go back down here to the bottom left spawn and check that first. And is the Zealot going to block? Yes, beautiful micro by Anytime, actually. Kind of wiggling that Zealot around on the ramp to keep it from keep the SCV from getting up there. So he's not gonna be able to scout at all. He does, of course, scout to see that there's no Nexus there, but he doesn't know what else is going on other than that. And it looks like Anytime's Dragoon's gonna be kind of forced away by these Marines. They were in the bunker, and they're like, actually, you know what? We can get out of the bunker. We can go attack this guy. And it looks like he's maybe even chased that Dragoon away in order to get another SCV out to try and get a scout around the map. Oh, sneaky, sneaky dicky. We got Anytime building a hidden expansion in the top of the map. So I was right that he was going to try and perhaps potentially play the catch-up game and get another base. But instead of getting at his expansion where it would be scouted, he's getting up into this north base. And this is a very strange base. It's not very, very good scoutable base, basically. It's going to be difficult for Lomo to kind of run across that. This is the map Circuit Breaker, by the way. I've done a lot of the replays that I have are on this map, so we've probably seen a number of games on this map, and that bunker is getting a little bit dicey. You might want to put a third SCV on there. I don't think that third SCV is it repairing it? I guess it must be. In any case, so we got 3 Dragoons, 3 SCVs battling it out here. I like that Lomo, he's gone for this very fast, you know, expansion, but he's playing extremely safe. Getting out early scouts, you know, getting the bunker, getting a turret up as well, just in case there's a DT follow-up. So he's gotten that early command center, and he's kind of like, you know, playing safely off it. Seeming like, I've taken a risk here. I'm going to go ahead and try and make sure I'm mitigating my risk by getting some defensive measures as needed to be able to hold off anything that comes here. But in any case, Siege Tech is almost done. The first Siege Tank is out, so he's just going to have to play this bunker repair game for a little bit longer. He's actually making a lot of Marines as well, by the way. He's got a second factory in addition to that, but he's just continuing to make Marines. Actually, I guess he stopped now, but he's made a couple extra Marines back here. Maybe so that he can keep a couple of Marines in the bunker and also have Marines to chase shuttles around, since that might be a likely follow-up. And Anytime has gone for a third base, by the way. We saw him transfer probes up to this northern hidden base earlier, and he's actually put down another Nexus in his natural now that things are kind of progressing into the mid-game. Putting down some additional gateways as well. Just gone for, again, pretty safe from Anytime as well. Going for the Observer Tech. I don't know if we actually have any observers on the map yet, but it looks like his first one is about to pop out momentarily. So we've played the normal Dragoon range, bunker, Siege Tech game, and things have stabilized, and we're going to go into a macro-based mid-game. Pretty nice little turret placements here by Lomo. Just a couple at crucial points, not overdoing it. Just making sure he's got something against shuttles coming in. If a DT was to, you know, if he was able to kind of get a shuttle in here and like drop some DTs right here, for example, they could get in and do a lot of damage, because he does not even have an academy yet. It's about to complete, but he's nowhere near Comsat, so he's kind of lucky that Anytime didn't go for that strategy. It'd be pretty crazy if that's what he did. He's just like, oh, he went exactly DT drop and found the exact right spot to drop some DTs. That would have been a little bit wonky, but then Lomo would have been kicking himself. But in any case, Lomo looking like he might want to push out here. I don't think this is going to be an attack. I think what he wants to do is try and push out and secure this third base location. We don't see a command center building yet. Excuse me. In order to utilize that location, but it looks like he's posturing in order to take that location. Just being very safe again, building a turret here. And is he being too safe is the question. Is he being so safe that he's going to let Anytime get too far ahead? Anytime continuing to build additional gateways out here. He's been mining fully off this northern base for a long time. You can see their supplies are about even, though. Anytime has a couple extra workers, but that's not too big of a deal at this point in the game. But he does have full saturation on 3 bases, so that does put him ahead economically. So Anytime now posturing around the map with this group of Dragoons and an Observer, a single Zealot just go alongside as well. Lomo just now starting to get mines out on the field. He kind of got the Siege Tech early. He teched a little bit late in the first place, so he's just now trying to get out with the... And I was actually completely wrong. Lomo is going for a push here, ladies and gentlemen. He's not trying to secure his expansion. He's going directly into... Wait, Anytime's forces are out on the map, and so Lomo just walks into his natural and sieges up next to his main expansion nexus. He has this is one of the reasons why he was making these Marines, because he wanted to have extra forces to kind of push out with in addition to these vultures. So this is a pretty good timing attack, kind of similar actually to the timing attack of that Flash did in a replay commentary I did recently from the same time period. And the Dragoons are going to be able to get in here and do a lot of damage. So it looks like these tanks are going to go down pretty quickly. Actually, the Dragoons not quite focus firing. Dragoons attacking different tanks. Each Dragoon attaching different tanks, and the Zealots coming in a little bit later as well. So the tanks were able to kind of be spared. It looks like 2 tanks are going to be able to get out alive, and that's actually pretty crucial, because imagine if he didn't have anything back at home now. He's going to be able to run those tanks back home. He does have a few reinforcements, but 5 tanks is much better than 3. You know, if you have 3 tanks and they come in with this amount of Zealots, you can just die. If you have 5 tanks and a couple vultures popping out, you know, it makes a world of difference. And he was actually... Okay, so I guess I was wrong about being wrong, in a way. He was actually expanding. I just missed the command center going up. I must have, like... I looked over here and I was like, there's no command center, and then like as soon as I looked away, there must have been a command center that had been put down. I didn't notice that. But in any case, so anytime holds off this push, he seems to have lost not too much. He lost a bunch of Dragoons, but the tanks that he traded for it, I think, are a pretty good trade. So again, things seeming to stabilize here, and we're going to be going into a mid game with both these players about in the same position after all. Lomo has pulled kind of ahead in the economic game, though. He's got a lot of money in the bank. He's got more workers than Anytime does, and he's managed to secure this third base in order to utilize those workers. He may, in fact, want to even transfer a couple more SCVs down there. Would be a little bit advantageous. I believe Anytime lost a few probes in that attack, but not too many. He ran most of them away pretty quickly, but I didn't catch it. But either way, he's in pretty good shape, though, still, regardless. Interesting that we see cannons going up around here. We see the cannons in the main. I mean, these are just like anti-vulture cannons, I guess. So that it's funny to see one in the natural expansion, though. Is he worried about cloaked wraiths or something like that? I'm not sure. Anyway, Lomo is really ramping up his production. He's got 5 factories. He's going to be going up to 8 factories as well. He is floating that barracks now. He's no longer producing Marines or anything like that. But curious to see if we see Anytime go for any kind of tech switch. Maybe going into... I mean, we don't see him getting any tech at all, actually, do we? What kind of tech is he? Okay, never mind. He does a Templar Archives. That's pretty techy. Pretty techy tech. And it just says, it's interesting, it says upgrade ground weapons. I thought it would say like ground weapons 2 or something like that. Anyway, he's just starting his upgrades here. The vultures are running around, and look, the vultures, he's scouted these other 2 locations. He put some 9s down. There's like potentially free kills on probes here, and he still has not scouted that 12 o'clock base. In the meantime, Anytime taking this left side base as well that he's just cleared some vultures out of. So Lomo's probably thinking he's in good shape. He's like, look, this guy's just getting his 3rd up. I've got my 3rd running. You know, I did this nice attack. Oh, now he's gonna scout it. He sees that base now. And what's he gonna do about it is the question. Looks like he wants to run these vultures up there and try and slaughter some probes. The Dragoons are hot on their trail, though. He's gonna plant some mines down that's gonna delay things a little bit. And is he just going to go in there? There's a couple cannons there, but it's not going to be enough to stop these probes from completely being slaughtered. It's going to be an annihilation here of all the probes at this 12 o'clock base. The Dragoons finally getting in here after they're taking some damage actually from those mines. It looks like the Observer got too far ahead and got in here early. And now, Anytime losing like 15 or 20 probes, basically an entire base worth of probes up here just going down. And it's funny, he's like, all right, well, I don't want that to happen again, so I'm going to build a couple more cannons just in case that another round of vultures comes here. He's going to chill these Dragoons up here. But Anytime doesn't really have a great economy compared to Lomo's right now. Lomo is just fully saturated on 3 bases, and it looks like he's just basically decided, all right, I'm just going to go full-on production off these 3 bases. Let's see, he's got 8, 9 factories now. That is a lot of factories, putting out tons of units. And it looks like Lomo's just playing the, all right, I got my 3 bases, I'm going to max out and push game. And that is exactly what's going on. We might see him, in fact, push out a little bit before maxed at maybe 180 or something like that. And just as I'm starting to say that, at 170, he starts moving out into the map. And what does Anytime have to deal with it? He's got a ton of zealots, 2 or 3 dozen zealots. I mean, you can see Anytime is almost even in supply. The Dragoons are out on the map as well. This is what he needs to be doing. He has very little vision. This one observer is out here on the map for vision, and luckily he does spot that this move out is happening. So Anytime is able to position his army into the middle of the map as well. He wants to slow this down by forcing him to siege up, and he's actually going to be pushing in here. It's a nice, beautiful open area. The zealots are not speed upgraded, though. It looks like maybe actually the speed upgrade is kicked in after all, and he's going to be able to get the zealots all around those tanks who are nice and clumped up. Where are the High Templar, though? Some juicy storm material right there. I mean, like, this is just a beautiful location to storm, and he actually just loses all of his zealots. And suddenly, Lomo's ahead by 40 supply instead of 10. And is pushing in, and it looks like he's like, all right, well, actually, since I'm so far ahead, I'm actually not even going to go for the expansions. I'm going to go directly for the kill. This is a beautiful move to send 1 tank over here. Actually, it may have just been a misclick because that tank just ran into some cannons. There's some storms, but a little bit late. I feel like Anytime should have waited a little bit longer for that engagement in the middle. And you know, gone for more of waited for those storms, basically, waited for his weapon upgrade perhaps, but waited for a few more units, but instead he kind of went in. He thought he had an advantage because Lomo was not sieged up, but Lomo was sieging up. Lomo sieged up just basically a moment too soon, but Anytime was like, all right, well, I've already committed to this, so I gotta go in now. But Anytime is actually... See, Lomo never had a lot of vultures to begin with. Well, I guess he had a substantial amount, but not quite enough. And he did take some storms to that vulture count. So when he went into this expansion area here, he lost most of his vultures. You can see, of course, now that he's gotten another round of vultures coming in here. But before that, these tanks were just kind of on their own. So Lomo kind of losing a lot of tanks as well. And that is crucial. You know, he's got a lot of supply still, but losing that tank count that you've built up over the entire game is usually a bad sign. Now, this is what I thought he was going to do earlier, is just send one tank over there just to siege up and do some damage. You know, it's always worth it to send a small force over to annihilate a vulnerable expansion on the side while you go into the natural expansion, if that's what you're going for. But now he's kind of just going to try and do a contain here. Lots of vultures, lots of mines here. This is going to be extremely difficult for Anytime to move out of. Anytime is, by the way, taking this top right base at the same time, so he's not actually economically hurting. He's gotten back up to 63 workers. He could probably afford to have more workers based on the amount of bases he has, but can't really afford to have more workers based on the fact that he needs to build units. And he does actually have, you know, $1,000 in the bank on both sides, but look at this. He's just got, because he's contained down here, he can't push out and actually do anything to save this expansion. He never got the Arbiter tech, as far as I'm aware. He's got the Templar tech, but he still hasn't been making too many Templars. I feel like he could do with more High Templars, basically. A little bit of a drop going on here in the top. This is a nice little wall that he's put on the ramp to keep vultures from running up there, but he's like, all right, we'll just send a dropship in instead. But he's just got so many so many units, he can actually kill the cannons with just the vultures. And then not have to worry about it. He even killed all the probes, and now this one tank is just like getting some free kills basically on the buildings. Counterattack going on by Anytime. This is kind of a desperate offensive. It looks like I got here a moment too late, and a lot of the zealots had already been killed off, but he was so contained out here that he had no other choice but to go through the south and try and do some damage back onto Lomo, who has, by the way, gotten a 4th base up on the side as well. So if this does not do significant damage to his economy, I feel like Anytime's going to have to leave the game for too long. The supply counts tell a different story. He's only 25. Okay, now he's 30 supply behind. It looks like the vulture's failing to do serious damage up at the top there as well. And crucially, Anytime did keep his dragoons. You know, it's kind of the thing where, like, you know, if you attack in but you lose your tanks, even if you keep your vultures, is not a big thing, right? It's kind of similar where oftentimes the zealots are sacrificial units anyway. So if you can keep your dragoons alive, you can refill your zealots pretty easily. It looks like Anytime has actually lost a lot of probes by losing the side base. He's lost probes at the top right base as well, so his economy is doing very, very poorly. He's having a hard time keeping up with Lomo, who even has a bunch of money in the bank, by the way. Kind of a little bit weird to see that much money in the bank, actually, for a programmer. But he's going to go ahead and march in here and basically come around from the side and take out this containment here. And now Anytime has the ability to kind of go out onto the map and try and do some damage here. If he can go onto this vulnerable side base, that would be a huge, huge way of trying to swing things back into his favor a little bit. He's managed to keep this top base secure. There's a random Templar up here. Just chilling, I guess. And he is going for this side base, but Lomo is pushed up out of his choke point into this location. He's actually running his SCVs out of there, but I don't know if that was even necessary. In fact, he's already landing this back at that expansion, and with all of his forces going down, Anytime forced to GG. I know this doesn't look like a GG, but I'm pretty sure it was just that I don't have the Korean characters installed on my computer right now, and so that was a Korean the Korean code for GG basically, or some, you know, version of that. Anyway, Lomo, you know, it's just interesting, very interesting game here. Lomo taking an early advantage with his economy here by getting this fast expansion, and then dealing with the counter aggression of Anytime very well. Didn't spot the secret expansion forever, and so Anytime was actually able to get at a good advantageous position, and kind of keep things even. I would say maybe kind of make up for the early economic loss by Lomo taking a quick expansion. and eventually anytime got into a spot where he had more bases, but he just never had enough probes. He never had enough probes because Lomo was doing such a good job of running in vultures and killing them. When he finally found this base, he slaughtered 20 probes. And so anytime never quite able to get his economy up and running at the level that the amount of bases he had was able to accommodate. And so Lomo able to just kind of outpace him in the macro game, and just kind of basically made a nice little move here where anytime it was kind of out on the map, he's like, I'm just going to run right into your natural. And kind of from there, it was all downhill. Anytime was on the defensive the entire time after that, and couldn't really make his claws way back in the game. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. A nice little game. You know, I usually try and find, you know, Jaedong and Flash games and Bisu games. There's just a limited number of those. So hope you guys enjoyed some not quite tip-top tier players, but some very high-level players. You know, it's kind of it's interesting to, you know, think about the fact that I kind of like, but like, oh well, Anytime's not the best. He didn't win any Star Leagues. It's like, yeah, but he's probably top 30 players in the world at this time. You know, maybe top 40 or something like that. So it, you know, just want to acknowledge that even though I'm kind of saying like, oh, he wasn't the best player, but he was very, very extremely good at Lomo as well. So anyway, still a very high level game. Love watching these old pro games at the highest level of Starcraft. That's why we watch it. But hope you enjoyed it. And I'll just mention, yeah, so if you do have a source of replays, old pro gaming replays, other than what I've been able to find on TL, let me know. I would love to have more replays to be able to cast from these players from the old days. Since I'm running out of the good ones. I'm running out of the, you know, I only had 2 Jaedong versus Bisu games, and I actually have cast them both. I think I actually casted one more than once, because I would just search my own video history to see if I'd done both of the replays I had, and I see that I've done 3 replays on the same map, and so I'm like, did I do one in July last year and then forget about it, or September last year and forget about it and do it again? And recently I might have casted the same game twice. If so, oops. But anyway, I'm done rambling. Take care.